It's absolutely apptacular. The Subject Cinema Android app. Everything you need to be a rabid Subject Cinema fan. Subject Cinema, 3-Minute Weekend, Tuesday Digidex, and Front Row 5 and 10. All right at your fingertips and available instantly. Plus, email and voicemail links, Facebook and Twitter hookups, Patreon support specials, and more is coming real soon. Don't just listen, app it. The all-in-one Subject Cinema podcast app. Android version available now at Google Play or on PNR Network websites. Amazon and iPhone apps coming soon. Don't delay. Download today.
Blueberry. This podcast is a member of the Blueberry Network. Blueberry. No E's. That's Blueberry, BLUBRRY.com. Blueberry.com.
This podcast is a proud member of the Lamb Podcasting Network. Find the network at largeassmovieblogs.com.
On air, online, on now. From the hub of the universe, Boston, Massachusetts, USA, this is Subject Cinema, with your hosts, T.C. Kirkham and Kim Brown. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome TC and Kim.
Hello!
Hi!
Hello out there, welcome
Hi.
to Subject Cinema.
Yep.
I'm tempted to say I'm Dame Edna, but I'm not really. I'm TC Kirkham.
Hi, I'm Kim Brown.
And Subject Cinema
he's
is
not Dame Edna, no.
No, I'm not. Subject Cinema is year-end, what we're calling year-end time capsule, year-end something.
Yep.
Is continuing.
We're looking back at the year in review
2018
all month long.
time capsule, and we're showing you all of the stuff that's going on this year. We've got a few extra things this week too, and but mostly we're going to talk about 2018, the year in hits and misses.
Yep.
This has been a banner year for movies.
Mm-hmm.
Some people say it's been a sucking year for movies.
Some people say that every year.
Yeah, they do.
Every year.
They
It's
do.
like, oh, this was the worst year in movies. I thought you said that last year. Never mind, this is the worst year in movies. You know, it's
They're Tony
every
Schiavone
year.
and all over the place.
Yeah.
And
Every
if you get
year
that
it's-
joke, you're old. Anyway,
Yeah. Or you have YouTube. Congratulations.
yeah.
But, I don't know. I thought we didn't get to see as many movies.
We haven't seen nearly enough. Our awards are seriously compromised because we haven't seen enough. But it's like
Right.
I'm really going to be trying to catch up. But we can report that what we have seen has been pretty good for
Yeah.
the most part.
Or if not, like, spectacular, at least fun. You know,
yeah,
I mean,
you
some
asked
of the,
me if there was anything we'd seen this year that I honestly could say I didn't like, and I couldn't remember because I just haven't had a chance to check it.
Right.
And now I'm just going to pull up my Letterboxd thing here because I don't remember what we've seen this year. We've seen so few things that it's like I honestly don't remember a lot. I mean, a lot of what I liked we saw were older films. Because we saw them for Fathom Events or on TV or something. And I honestly don't see much of anything that we've seen that I didn't like. I mean, there was some crap out there. We managed to avoid it, I think, for the most part. And I still have a couple movies I'm waiting to see this month. Mm-hmm. The Quake comes out Friday. Woohoo! Unfortunately, I'm going to have to watch it on demand because Boston is not getting it. I already checked with my Landmark people, and she's like, well, there's no plans to open it in Boston right now. I'm like, what? How can you do that to me? You had the wave, you're not bringing the sequel? Come on.
Maybe because you're the only person that asked.
I was not the only person in the theater. There were at least 10 people in the theater that night.
Oh,
so.
well. Yeah.
Well, that's good for the Kendall on a weeknight.
I know. No, you're right. You're right. You're absolutely right.
Box office is determined by the amount of money, obviously, that each movie makes. Mm-hmm. Pardon me while I cough every now and then. The top 10 films, grossing films, as of December, what was the date? December, through yesterday, as pulled from the Motley Fool financial website. Mm-hmm. The top 10 films, grossing films of the year were number 10, Dr. Seuss's The Grinch. Number 9, Venom. Number 8, Solo, a Star Wars story. We'll talk more about that in a minute. Number 7, Ant-Man and the Wasp. Number 6, Mission Impossible Fallout. Number 5, Deadpool 2. Number 4, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. Number 3, Incredibles 2. Number 2, Avengers Infinity War, which I would have thought was number 1. And number 1 was Black Panther.
Yep.
So, all of these films, we've seen most of these, actually. Half of them. Almost half of them. We liked them.
Yes,
for the
we
most
did.
part.
I think it would be very fair to say that this was a banner year for Marvel. You know,
When hasn't been a banner year for Marvel? Since the MCU
Spider-Man 3?
It wasn't part of the MCU.
Well, no.
Since the MCU started. There hasn't
okay.
only been a couple of them that didn't do that well. So.
Yeah. Or a couple of them that the fans weren't all that crazy about every single X-Men movie after X2.
X-Men movies aren't part of the MCU
I
either.
know.
Well, you're saying up movies that aren't part of the MCU. Come on.
All right, fine. Well, I get confused. It's like, well, what about this? Well, Marvel doesn't own that anymore, but they print the comic. That doesn't matter. It's like,
Marvel owns all of the films, but the MCU are the ones in the Disney universe.
Yes, I know. I
with the
understand
exception
that.
of Spider-Man, which is in Sony. But it's part of the universe, too.
But out of the top 10...
And they will be bringing more in, I'm sure, with now that they're buying Fox.
Out of the top 10 films, you had 3 films that are part of the MCU: Black Panther, Avengers Infinity War, and Ant-Man and the Wasp.
And Venom is on the fringe, because it's connected
You had
to
Venom
Spider-Man.
on the fringe, and you had Deadpool 2, which people really tack about 10 more reallys on there, want Deadpool to be part of the MCU.
Actually, they don't, from what I've seen.
Okay, I see some.
He will be, because he's part of the ones from Fox that are being bought by Disney right now.
Well, some people do, and some people really don't. You know,
well, they're afraid that Disney's going to downplay him.
Yeah.
Now, of course, that total, Deadpool is currently in 5th place with $318 million. I think that's worldwide sales. And it's almost $100 million behind number 4, Jurassic World. But Once Upon a Deadpool, which comes out this coming Wednesday, as we're doing this day and date. Oh, by the way, this is Subject Cinema number 619, day and date, December 9th, 2018. Forgot to bring that up at all. That will add to that total, because it's the same film, it's just PG-13. I don't think they're going to count it as 2 separate films.
No, I don't think they really shouldn't, because it's not 2 separate films.
Yeah, and
it's
they only cut 3 minutes out of the film. So it's like
it's the same film. They've just cut out. What did they cut out? Like the swearing or the gore?
They cut out some of the violence, and from what I've understood, they've bleeped the F word.
Oh,
but they've only cut out less than 3 minutes of the film, and they've actually added 8 to 10 minutes of the film in the interstitials with Deadpool and Fred Savage. So we'll see what happens. I don't know. And Deadpool 2 was funny. It wasn't as good as the first one. You liked it better.
I liked it better than the first.
I liked the first one better. But
I have to be honest, and I mentioned this when we did our review way back.
This is actually the only role I can stand Ryan Reynolds in. So
that's not nice.
I don't like the guy.
You don't like the characters he plays. You don't know the man. You can't say you don't like him.
No, what I've seen of the guy online, I don't like him. He's too much of a smartass for me. So I'm like,
okie dokie.
Anyway.
So much for ever getting him to do the show.
What?
But I'm just kidding. No, I'm
like,
just
I'd
teasing.
want him to.
Like, I'm teasing.
Anyway.
But my whole point is, I did actually like Deadpool 2 more than the original Deadpool, because I can be honest and say Deadpool, the first movie, didn't make me cry. And
honey, everything made you cry this year.
Yeah.
You cried at every single movie we've seen, I think, except The Meg this year.
Yeah, that's not wrong.
You cried at Black Panther. You cried buckets at Infinity War. You cried at Solo. You cried at Deadpool. You cried at Ant-Man. You cried at everything.
When did I cry during Solo?
At the end.
I did?
You did.
Okay.
You said you did.
Oh, maybe. I guess I did. I must have. I guess. I don't know. But, anyway. I like the story. I like the way they moved things along. And for once it was a time travel story. I'm talking about Deadpool 2 here. For once it was a time travel story that didn't hurt my brain, which was nice because time travel stories really hurt.
Well, it really wasn't a time travel story because Cable was completely in this universe at that time. There wasn't going back and forth.
Right, but my whole thing
is a time traveler, but he doesn't...
Yeah, but my whole thing is always, when people from the future show up in the past because they're going to do whatever they're going to do, whatever it is, save somebody, kill somebody, whatever. Whatever they do in the past, even if it's got nothing to do with what they showed up for... Mm-hmm. Whatever they do, it's going to mess up stuff in the future, even from them just showing up in the past, if that makes any sense.
Unless he's supposed to do that.
How?
Hey, it's got to be better than the comic book where young Cable killed old Cable.
Yeah, I know.
So it's like, okay.
And that we won't even get into Cable's parentage because that completely...
I don't follow the comic books. Anthony Lamberti over at not Aunt B's Nerd Grotto could probably come up with better stuff with the X-Men and stuff, but I'm like,
see, okay. Now I've given myself a headache, and that's, anyway, moving on.
Let's talk about Infinity War. The new trailer for the follow-up, Avengers Endgame, we have a title now, premiered on Friday to the biggest ever viewing of a trailer in history.
Yeah.
It broke records by almost 10-1, they said.
I know.
How are they going to bring everybody back from the dead? Are they going to bring everybody back from the dead?
I don't know.
I think there's a good chance that Drax won't be coming back from the dead, based solely on Dave Bautista's mouth after James Gunn's firing. The rest of them I'm not so sure about.
Sorry, I'm just remembering the end of the movie again. I'm getting all verklempt.
Bucky!
You're a jerk.
Spoiler alert.
You're a jerk.
Spoiler alert.
Anyway.
Avengers Infinity War. Everybody dies. Except the core.
You're so
what?
mean.
Everybody knows that by this
know,
point.
but you have to be so flip about it. It's like, oh my gosh, your wife's sitting there sobbing like her heart's breaking. Do you show her any sympathy or compassion?
No.
Or, there, honey, it's going to be all right because
No.
I'm a big, strong man and I'm going to protect you?
No.
No! You have to be
You
a
always
jerk.
tell me I don't need to, that you don't need protecting, that you can take care of yourself. You're a liberated woman.
I am a liberated woman, but I
Well,
have
there you go,
feelings. I have feelings. You're supposed to be the supportive...
Yes, like the 5 sighs during Superman the movie a couple weeks ago. Don't flip me off. They can't see that. Anyway,
that's the whole point of flipping you off, because they
wait
can't
till we
see
have
that.
cameras in here, which we will have in the next few weeks, so it's going to be interesting.
Oh. I don't know. Well, I mean, there's some very obvious things that they could use to fix what Thanos has done, which I have my own separate thing about that. There's several things about that I'm kind of going, I don't think this was thought through clearly.
Okay.
But considering the fact that Thanos is called the Mad Titan, you're not really going to expect a lot of cognitive linear thinking.
Right.
There's that.
And that's Titan as in planet, not Titan as in God, right?
Well,
because aren't he and his brother both from Titan? They've made that. I thought they said that on something.
I think that's the name of the planet, and I think that's the name of the people.
I'm assuming
there.
that a Titan is not the Saturn Moon Titan that they're talking about.
No.
Because I mean, that's where Saturn Girl's from, and
that's another thing. Don't do that.
Let's just really quickly. Avengers: Infinity War was one of the biggest grossing weekends of all time when it opened in May, or actually late April. The casualty list was huge. Let's go over it real quick because everybody who doesn't know. Pretty much the core of the Avengers group.
You'd be better off going by who's left.
The core of the Avengers group is left. Iron Man, although he's stranded. Cap, Widow, Hawkeye's nowhere to be seen. He is in the trailer for the new film. Ant-Man, we know why he wasn't there in the from Ant-Man and the Wasp. Mm-hmm. Plus Thor and Hulk
and Rocket.
And Rocket's not part of the Corps. He's
Rocket
survived the Guardians. No one else.
Rocket
did.
survived from the Guardians, and didn't Nebula survive?
Nebula survived.
Yeah, she's on the same rock out in space.
Is she? I didn't think she did.
I don't remember now.
Everybody else, puffed into lots kind of dust. All the Guardians, Bucky and who else in the Avengers? Bucky,
T'Challa. Black Panther. Yeah, and boy, did that cause I'm surprised we all didn't pass out because all the oxygen got sucked out of them. Of course,
I don't feel well, Mr. Stark, Spider-Man.
You're such a jerk.
I know. But we all know that they're all back because they've already finished shooting the new Spider-Man movie. Back. They've already finished shooting some of these other films. What?
I'll be back in a second. I have to compose myself now because I'm picturing what happened to Peter. You're such a jerk. Tom, if you're out there,
Doctor Strange too.
Yeah.
That really killed Kim because she just thinks he's hot.
No, what killed me was when Groot faded away. That was just I can't. I just can't. I can't. That was horrible.
So you can't, huh?
No, I can't. I completely couldn't. I was anybody who knows me that thought I cried buckets at the end of...
Oh, she wasn't nearly as bad at this than she was at March of the Penguins. Or the increasing times we saw Fellowship of the Ring. Every time we saw Fellowship of the Ring, it got worse. She knew what was coming. By the sixth time, she was crying buckets before they even got done with the shooting at Boromir. So... She's sulking now.
I can't help it. Estrogen, boobs, I'm a chick. I can't help it. I have feelings. Sue me.
But, normally when you see something like that, or at least for my part, when you see something like that, the more you see it, the less it affects you. You're ready for it. Like Spock's death in Star Trek II. I bawled buckets when I saw that when it came out. I can watch that without even flinching now.
Well, you're a terrible person.
Oh, excuse me.
I'm just kidding. You're not.
Anyway.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I did watch Gojira when I was homesick, and I only cried a little bit. I didn't cry so much I made myself vomit.
Gojira is a different thing because you relate to that. That's a little bit different.
I identify with Gojira.
I don't know what's going to happen when we ever sit down to watch The Last Jedi again.
You're assuming we're going to. You're cute.
Yeah. So let's go. Okay, let's go through this.
Hold up. Let's go back to Avengers: Infinity War real quick. You were asking me how they're going to fix this. Obviously, the biggest way they could fix this is the Time Stone, which is part of the Infinity Gauntlet. Unfortunately, now in the possession of Thanos. So if they could get the Infinity Gauntlet away from Thanos and use the Time Stone, or possibly use the Time Stone in conjunction with the Reality Stone, that might fix everything.
Now, we should point out that if you haven't seen the Avengers Endgame, I'm about to give a spoiler away, so if you don't want to know about it, at the very end of the trailer, Scott Lang shows up at Avengers headquarters.
Yep.
Talking about things, and Cap turns to Widow and says, "Is this a archive recording?" No, he's out there.
This is live.
So the question is, we last saw Scott trapped inside the quantum universe
at the
very end of Ant-Man and the Wasp, and waiting for the signal from Hank and Janet and Hope that never came, because we came out and saw the picture and saw little pieces of Avengers death dust flying everywhere.
Yeah, which caused me to swear.
So how did he get out?
Which caused me to swear in the middle of the theater, which caused
the whole theater went.
Yeah.
I mean, that was
the whole theater went. I went, oh, beep,
and people laughed. It was funny.
You were pissed at me.
Well, yeah, there were kids there. It was a full theater. There were kids there. It was interesting, but that's given us a clue that was able to be overcome.
Yeah. So he got back from the quantum... Well, he got back from the quantum realm in the first Ant-Man movie.
Yeah, but he didn't do it alone.
Well, yeah, he did.
He didn't go into the quantum realm in the first one.
Yes, he did.
He did?
during the fight with Yellow Jacket at the end.
Yeah, because that's how they found out it could be possible. That's why they were doing it.
Yeah, and he used the other disc thing, and that got him back.
Right. So anyway, just a spoiler there. So Endgame comes out supposedly the first Friday in May. It probably will get bumped up a week or two, so like it did with this one. Black Panther. This is the success story of the year. Everybody was waiting for it. Nobody expected it to be as huge as it ended up becoming. It is now the 4th highest grossing film of all time and has just amazed people with its durability, and there are now actually people out there that are convinced it's going to win Best Picture at the Oscars. If they honestly can, I mean, I'll be honest, I am a total cynic. I would love to see that happen, but it won't. So, I mean, let's be honest. It's a superhero film. The people that hate those movies, the people in the Academy that hate how the movie industry has been bastardized by the blockbusters, won't vote for it. It has no prayer of becoming Best Picture.
No, but so it would be nice if it was nominated.
Oh, it'll be nominated.
Because there have been several...
It will be nominated. It will not win. But there
have been several superhero movies that should have been nominated that weren't. Simply... Batman.
1989 Batman.
Yeah, the 1989 version of Batman.
And The Dark Knight did get a nomination for Best Picture. So, I mean, there have been some that did.
Yes, and Heath Ledger won posthumously for his work in The Dark Knight.
Which I think he would have won anyway, but the fact that he passed away really helped push it over
let's
the
be
top.
honest. They also gave him that Oscar because they couldn't give him one for Brokeback Mountain because it would have pissed off, the Bible Belt.
They could have given it to him for Lords of Dogtown that year and said it was for Lords of Dogtown and instead of Brokeback Mountain because it was the same year.
Mm.
Could have given him. They should have nominated him for supporting actor too, and then they could have given him that. But they didn't because they're idiots. Anyway, Panther turned Chadwick Boseman into a household name, and is now also Denai Wright, Letitia Wright, and of course Martin Freeman is in that too from his characters from the MCU that debuted in Civil War, and so is Sebastian Stan at the very end.
Yep.
There's a lot of. I mean, it is a true...
Michael B. Jordan, who
Michael
was
B. Jordan
amazing.
plays the bad guy in that. It is a true film that caused controversy because some people, got riled that it was accepted by everybody when it's supposed to be about the black experience, and some black journalists got all bent out of shape when white journalists were loving it. And I'm like, you're missing the point of this movie, aren't you?
I don't understand people who...
The whole point of the movie is inclusion.
Yeah, I know. I don't understand some people who were angry that there were white fans enjoying this movie. Oh, this is our movie. You shouldn't be at this movie.
There really were people like that. What? I know. It's like, it is truly an awesome film. If you've not seen it, it's dynamite.
If I saw somebody say that... if I was in a movie theater and somebody came and sat next to me who was an African American person, and it was like a Superman movie, and somebody said to them, somebody else in the theater
this is
said,
our movie.
If this is our movie, get out. I'd be like, excuse me, hold my earrings. And I would kick the living crap out of the person who said that.
Where did that come from? You've been using that a lot lately. Where did that come from?
It's just one of those things, to hold my earrings, hold my shoes. When a woman takes off her earrings or her shoes, this stuff is going to get nasty.
I bet a woman took off her earrings primarily to get on the phone.
They do that too, but you also take off your earrings before you get in a fight because if you don't, your earrings get pulled on. It's like when a hockey player gets in a fight and they throw the gloves off. It's like that.
Black Panther is just an awesome film all the way
around. It is.
It's
amazing.
And was until, I can honestly say it is my favorite Marvel Universe film thus far.
Wow.
And I'm really loved the way it was done, and
it's one of my top three.
Fantastic.
I would definitely say.
I liked Infinity War until the end of it, but after I thought about the ending, I was okay with it. After I thought about it, It just seemed to be kind of a cop out because they have to make it back from there. But it's me.
Yeah, and everybody knows Jason's going to be back for the next Friday the 13th
That's not the same
movie,
thing.
And people still scream their heads
Please.
off. I'm just saying. Speaking of horror movies,
Uh-huh.
a movie that did very well this year that I was kind of like, do we really need this? Was the, what I guess the only thing you could really call it was the sequel, to the 1970s seminal horror classic Halloween, the movie Halloween, which came out this year.
The same title.
With the same title. And tweaking the story quite a lot, actually.
Halloween 2018 disavows everything after Halloween 1978.
Yes.
Including the sequels.
Including the sequel. Specifically including
everything.
Halloween Part 2,
everything.
which, had the big reveal.
It everything.
Yeah. And I gotta be honest, it was great.
It was a great movie, yeah.
It was scary.
I know people that didn't like it. I know a few people at work who really were disappointed with it. But I thought it was awesome.
I thought
Jamie
it was
Lee Curtis
terrific,
is better than she's ever been.
It was scary. It was exciting. And, it pretty much showed that women have finally, thankfully, for the most part, moved beyond the whole, woman curled up in the corner crying thing, waiting for the guy to come save her crap. We can save ourselves.
Yep.
And boy, did this movie show it.
It was a great movie and deserved all the critical praise that it got. Let's go to Ant-Man. Ant-Man and the Wasp was a film that I thought was better than the first film. I loved the first film, but this one was just kick-ass from all the way.
It was really great, yeah.
A lot of it had to do with the great chemistry that Paul Rudd and Evangeline Lilly have developed.
They have, yeah.
Michael Douglas is good, too. But most of it, my favorite parts of it, are from the chemistry that Paul Rudd has with, I'm sorry, I've forgotten her name, I'll have to look it up, the little girl that plays his daughter. In these films. I know we put her on the Rising Stars list. I'm sorry, I can't remember her name off the top of my head. Kim will look it up right now.
Yes.
That chemistry is just something. They are so funny together.
You could really believe that they're father and daughter.
Yes. And Addie Ryder Forston. I pulled it out of my head at the minute without even looking it up. Yep. I knew it would come to me.
And she's such a great little actress. And they have a wonderful familial chemistry. And it's also really nice. One thing about Ant-Man and the Wasp I want to bring up that I really like is the fact that Scott and his ex-wife, played by Judy Greer, his ex-wife Maggie, they're divorced, but she's not your stereotypical. Yeah, she's not your stereotypical shrewish ex-wife.
He's friends with her husband, her new husband.
Yeah,
sort of. More so in this film than in the first film.
Yeah, and I like Judy Greer anyway, so I love her. I love David Desmalchian as Kurt. He's one of my favorite character actors.
He's one of your favorite character actors because he's done Supernatural and he's done Svengoolie.
Actually, no, David's never been on Supernatural.
Oh, he hasn't?
No.
I thought he had.
No.
Okay.
He's been in practically everything else. Yeah. Hey, Supernatural, sign David up because he's awesome. He was in The Dark Knight. He's been in everything else. Usually playing bad guys or psychos because he's really good at it, David. And I meant that as a compliment.
The one bad thing about Ant-Man this time was Michael Pena.
Really?
I love Michael Pena and I love his character, but they overdid it in this film way more than they did in the first film. It worked in the first film. Here, there were a couple of set pieces with him and Kurt and the other guy that just fell flat for me. Dave.
Yeah.
They just fell flat for me. And I wish they had, not made them so long. They were longer than they needed to be.
The part where they're cornered by the bad guys in the office, that was a little
longer
long.
Than it needed to be.
That was a little
long.
long.
And it really kind of stopped the pace of the film.
But the special effects in that film,
great.
The fight in the kitchen where they're using the growing and shrinking discs, that was amazing. And the chase on the street is nuts.
Yep.
I loved it. I thought it was a great movie. And like you mentioned, the ending is just one of those, crap. It's like,
we're
my
talking
gosh.
The ending
post-credits ending.
Before we get to Solo, let's talk to something else here. This has been a banner year for the documentary.
Yeah.
Documentaries usually do, at best, a average of 2 to 3 million at the box office, and that's for the real big hits. This year, there have been 4 of them, and I can't remember what the 4th one is, that have actually earned over $10 million at the box office. The first one was RBG, the intimate portrait of Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. The second one was Three Identical Strangers, which was one of the huge hits out of Sundance this year, with the story of 3 brothers who were separated at birth, given to 3 different parents as an experiment which we didn't know when they first came to fame, when they first found each other in the early 1980s.
Yeah.
They were on, I don't know how many TV shows. I remember seeing them on PM Magazine or Evening Magazine in some areas and a few other places. And the biggest of them all right now, and headed toward big box office for the year, Won't You Be My Neighbor, the intimate portrait of Fred Rogers, which everybody adores.
Yep.
It has won a couple of critics awards. It is probably, it's no longer the odds-on favorite for the Oscar now because of the IDA win, which we'll talk about in a few minutes, I think. I've seen it twice. I watched it on my IDA screener last week as well as at the theater. And it is one of the most breaks beautiful, your heart and puts moving, a smile on your face, and it's wonderful, and it makes you realize just how badly Mr. Rogers is missed in this current generation.
Yep.
And I wish, not to knock it, because David Newell, who is now in charge of most of Fred's stuff, David is Mr. McFeely, for those of you who don't know, has done a bang-up job with Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood, which is run for the past 7 years on PBS, but it can't hold a candle to the original show, and it's just, I wish...
No, it's a different show.
You can see the appearance. If you have Amazon, they are available there. Buy them. They're $1.99 an episode. Find the ones that you like. Show those to your kids, because there is nothing like Fred Rogers out there. And it's just an amazing film.
No, absolutely not. Especially when you look at the stuff that is marketed toward small children nowadays.
All three
that just
of these
makes me want to eye roll so badly.
All three of these, I don't remember what the fourth one is. I'm really sorry. All three of these films are available on demand right now. So if you haven't seen them, check them out. Three Identical Strangers will premiere on CNN as part of their CNN film series on Sunday nights, I think in January. It's coming up soon. The other documentary that hasn't earned that much money yet, but that is available on Hulu and that you should be watching, is the film that is now, by most standards, now the front runner for the Academy Award for documentary. It is a wonderful, intimate portrait of three skateboarders called Minding the Gap. We saw Minding the Gap at the Salem Film Fest this year. It was a monster hit at Sundance. It has been awarded Best Documentary by several critics groups. And last night, it walked off with the ever important IDA award, the International Documentary Association, for Best Documentary. Director Bing Liu, who is also one of the three skateboarders, is in his late 20s. And none of these people, neither he nor Keir nor I've forgotten the other one's name, are big name skateboarders, but they're three friends who have always wanted to make it big in skateboarding. And it's an intimate portrait of their lives and how abuse comes into them in all different ways, through different shapes and sizes.
Yeah.
It's an amazing film, and it has been running on Hulu since its theatrical release in July. So if you have Hulu, by all means, you got to check this thing out. It is an amazing film. Okay, Solo, a Star Wars story.
Yep.
This is the only film that is on the best list of the year, biggest box office hits. It earned $213 million at the box office, which places it number 8. It is also on the bombs list of the year because it barely made back its production costs. It is the lowest grossing film in the Star Wars canon, and that's even below Clone Wars, which I couldn't even conceive. What happened?
What happened was
we both liked it. We thought it was a good movie.
We both
okay movie.
liked it.
We didn't love it.
I should not come out of a Star Wars movie going, I liked that.
Yeah.
I have never.
This is from a true. I've known Kim. We've known each other for going on 30 years now. We've been together for over 25, and this woman is unapologetically and unabashedly a true, heartfelt Warzy.
Yep.
From beginning to end.
I have never come out of a Star Wars movie being like, I liked that. Even the prequels at the time, I told myself, were, there was something about them that I enjoyed.
How scary is it that Solo grossed less than Phantom Menace? That's scary.
I mean, be honest, out of the prequels, the one I liked the best was Revenge of the Sith, because that actually felt like a Star Wars movie and not like a soap opera. Anyway,
well, that's because the first one was really kind of out there and completely destroying the Star Wars mythos, the whole midichlorians crap, and then you get Attack of the Clones, which is basically the young and the Jedi with Anakin and Padme and his Edward Cullening all over the place 10 years before Cullen became in existence.
Yeah, anyway,
I'm just being honest here.
I
don't like Hayden Christensen. I do, but I don't like him in that role.
There are several factors that all come together to you can put them in a blender and hit frappe to talk about why Solo was such a bitter drink to swallow.
Can I ask you, before you go on?
Sure.
Do you think part of that is the reason because it switched directors in midstream?
When that happens, I do think that tends to make movie goers skittish.
Yeah. Even though they're going from Phil Lord and Chris Miller, right, to Ron Howard.
Right.
Ron Howard is an esteemed director who's won Academy Awards. So
yes, he is,
okay.
And I am not saying that in any way of slagging on Mr. Howard or slagging on anybody else.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But I do think when a film goes now, I understand, and I know you guys out there listening to this understand because you're a smart bunch, that making a film is not just here's a script, here's some actors, here's a camera, line, edit, done. It doesn't.
No, that's Tommy Wiseau's technique.
That's script type written by a drunken monkey, acting done by something that could be acted better by a dead snail, editing with a hatchet and a pot of glue, and then hoping for the best. Anyway, moving.
A dead snail? Are you trying to get PETA to come down on us? Stop talking about that.
Well, I was going to say a live...
Did you see all the trouble they were having this week with all those cute little places? Oh, we've got to stop bashing animals in cliche phrases.
PETA can kiss my lily white Irish ass. I'm an animal. You're an animal. Why doesn't PETA care about our feelings?
Anyway, go on.
And PETA can suck my...
Okay.
Anyway.
Family show.
Moving forward. But my point is, we all know that movies don't just come together by somebody waving a magic wand and poof, there it is. There's a lot of things that go...
whoomp, there it is.
No. And you're old. My point is...
So are you, if you remember it.
I love you, baby.
Yeah.
My point being that, you have a lot of things that change before a movie actually makes it to your local multiplex. The thing is, when it gets out there that, we've completely changed directors, okay, that tends to make people a little antsy. Well, the main role wasn't working out very well, so now we've got someone new in there, and oh, by the way, we're halfway through shooting. That's when people start going, And
it worked on Lord of the Rings. I mean, when you consider that Stuart Townsend was originally supposed to be Aragorn, worked for not quite 2 weeks, and he and Jackson could not get along, and he split.
I know, that is true,
so Viggo Mortensen stepped in without any expectation.
That's true, because his kid wanted him to take the part, so yay to Viggo Mortensen's kid.
Yeah.
But can I also bring up, not knocking Viggo, who is awesome, he's not the lead character.
No, he's not. You're
so
right.
There's that.
But they never replaced Alden Ehrenreich.
No, but there was all this, when people found out who was playing Solo, the attitude of... Now, that's another thing about movies. Nowadays, because we have the interwebs out there, thank you, Al Gore, people can instantly get online and say, that's awesome casting, or that sucks. The problem is, when Alden Ehrenreich was cast as Han Solo for this movie... As
if it wasn't a mouthful just to say his name. Mm-hmm. Alden Ehrenreich.
Yeah, that took a lot of pronunciation, Alden, so I hope you appreciate it. The problem is, for the most part, a lot of fan response went it went from that sucks to who, and a lot of area in between. There wasn't a lot of yay. There wasn't a lot of that. So when you have all of these things happening, that's a couple of things against Solo right there. Then you had the whole thing of Disney buying Star Wars. So now you have a whole bunch of people out there. I won't generalize and say
Go on. We're talking about the movie, not the situation.
But you have a whole bunch of people out there that the second something like this comes out, they're automatically going to be like, well, it sucks. Because it's totally something done in the new Star Wars. We'll go with that, even though it's set before the original film. Ow. But you see what I mean? Yeah, you see what I mean?
Although Rogue One was a hit and everybody loved it.
Yes, it was.
It was a top-notch film.
But it also
still
had
my favorite film in the entire Star Wars
universe. And it was awesome. I loved Rogue One, capital L.
Yeah.
But you have to also give me that Rogue One also had its share of controversies.
It did until it came out, yeah.
Because you had a bunch of people being like, no, even after it came out.
Not so much. It was louder before, but it did continue, but it was still louder before.
Because you had a female lead and you had people of color.
That's not really anything to do with here about the story, though.
About the story, no. Okay. It's just about the...
I think that was one of the biggest complaints about Solo, was that the story really didn't mesh with the rest of the stuff.
Well, I think the biggest problem with Solo was the simple fact that the studio came out and they were all excited, bells and whistles, doves and elephants, trumpets and parades, that, at last, the Star Wars movie you asked for, Han Solo's origin, and we as Star Wars fans all went, what? We never asked for this. We don't want this. And the studio went, yes, you do. Of course you do. And we're going to ram it down your throats till you do.
One of the biggest things about Solo was that it was, as you said, it was people, Disney, out there saying, well, let's capitalize on what we've bought here. Mm-hmm. Let's make sure we have a Star Wars film in theaters every year. Mm-hmm. Which is fine if they're well done. Solo came out just a few months after the previous film. Number one. Last Jedi was out in December.
Which, to call that divisive would be kind.
And, a lot of people didn't like Last Jedi. I thought it was great, but a lot of people didn't like it. Then you come out and you make a prequel to possibly the most popular character in Star Wars history. Particularly with men.
Yep.
And you do it in such a way that it just seems like it doesn't mesh with the original man. Now, I don't know if you've seen this, great. If not, spoilers. It tells us the story of how Han met Chewie and how they eventually became...
How Han met Chewie, how Han got the Millennium Falcon,
all the
so
big
on and
things.
so forth. And
how
so
Han
on.
made that run and however many...
Kessel Run.
And...
Yay, nerds!
And all that. And you're asking the question, did we ask about this? Yeah. So, and then I've got to be honest. Alden Ehrenreich is a very talented actor. He was on our 2016 Rising Stars list, or 2017. I forget which year. He is a really good actor. He was the heart and soul, along with Josh Brolin, of Hail Caesar, the Coen Brothers Hollywood parody, which was a riot. But I didn't really warm up to his Solo at all, and I just really. He was okay, but he doesn't look like him. He doesn't look enough like Harrison Ford. He doesn't sound like him. And
the very
mannerisms didn't seem right.
It's very difficult to believe he's going to grow up to be Harrison Ford.
In 5 years. Mm-hmm. Which is basically what they were saying.
Yeah.
I'm like, no.
Nope.
It wasn't a terrible film by any means. But it wasn't. It
was worse than a terrible film. We've seen our fair share of terrible films, and I'm even
Little
saying
Dragons,
that.
Anyone?
And I'm even saying that as someone who liked Solo.
The Apple.
Oh, I just threw up in my mouth. No,
Godfrey Ho.
Stop that, and don't do the other one.
The other one?
You know what it is.
Tommy Wiseau?
No. I'm not going to say it because you'll do it.
Doris Wishman.
No. Stop it. My point is Solo is an unnecessary movie. And sometimes unnecessary movies are worse than a bad movie.
Yeah, they are.
Because an unnecessary movie comes off as a cash grab.
Yeah.
Now...
Well, yeah. Especially with Disney, who are known for cash grabs.
See, that's the thing. I am not, in spite of
what... I think Walt would be appalled by, just for the record.
In spite of what some people, including certain people in this room, looks at you, might think, I am not that naive that I do know that people, for the most part, are in the movie business to make money.
Yeah, we know. We both of us know that.
Some people really are in the movie business because they're trying to make art, or they're trying to make a statement,
Usually
or they're
those are the directors and the writers.
Yeah, and all that kind of thing. And that's great. And that's terrific.
Not the studio people.
No, not the studio people. They're in it to make as much money as possible, and they're in it to squeeze as much cash out of that cash cow. Sometimes, though, Disney takes it to the level of taking a cow and running it through that big thing that they use to make newspapers really flat, so that the cow is completely squished of every single amount of cash you can wring out of every single cell in said cow. You know, it's... And it's not a pretty picture, no. I realize that. It's not an attractive... No. It is not attractive. It's utterly terrible. I realize that. But it's true.
Stop milking it for all it's worth.
Stop trying to horn in on my jokes and steering the conversation in another direction. It behooves you.
Oh.
I win.
Everything's better with butter on it, you know. This is what's known as complete non sequitur rocking or opera track of thought. All right, go ahead. Milk, butter, cow.
I got it. Wow.
Okay, anyway.
Another film that did really well this year that I was kind of like really... I mean, I thought
we gotta get to the bomb, so make this fast.
The one film that I was really surprised did well this year that we still haven't seen yet, Venom. I mean, I love
Venom
Tom
was a
Hardy.
total disaster with the critics, and the fans loved it.
And the fans ate it up. I love Tom Hardy. I adore him. I think he's a fantastic actor. Yeah. But I was like, how in the fork are you going to have a Venom movie and not have Spider-Man in it? That makes no sense.
Venom
Just
has
like
his own comic book with Spider-Man not in it. What are you talking about?
But that was after years and years and years of establishing Venom first as a Spider-Man villain and then as a Spider-Man anti-hero.
Fair enough.
So there's that. And they didn't do that in this film. It's just, boop, here he is. I mean, that would be like doing a Joker movie without Batman. I mean, what kind of an idiot would do... Oh, well...
Warner Brothers next year with Joaquin Phoenix.
Anyway,
let's get to the bombs of the year.
Yes.
The 10 biggest box office bombs measured again by box office and budget. Mm-hmm. Some of these films you may not have heard of, although they are out there and they were circulating. London Fields, which was a film that sat on the shelf for a couple of years. It didn't do well at Toronto when it was there in 2015. It cost $8 million. Grossed under $300,000. It is the second worst wide release opening in box office history. Mm-hmm. Nutcracker and the Four Realms, out right now, has actually almost equaled its budget. It was $120 million to make, $117.5 as of last week at the box office. But again, it was critically reviled, and is probably gonna barely make its money back. Early Man, well-reviewed film, the latest from the wonderful Nick Park and Aardman Animation, made the jackass decision, the studio made the jackass decision to release it the same day as Black Panther. Yeah. And it got smooshed all over the road. $54 million around the world, cost $50 million to make, barely broke even, didn't break even really, because you're not talking, that's not including marketing and all that stuff. So, and even though it was fairly well-reviewed, it's the only land where it actually made more than its gross was in Britain.
Yep.
15 million. Annihilation, another film that was critically loved but was very little seen because it came out in January. It was opposite all these other big films coming out,
and
rolling around.
it did have a trailer that was kind of
the trailer was
hell
very
is this movie
mixed
about?
up.
Yeah.
Natalie Portman and Oscar Isaac again. $40 million budget, $43 million total. Darkest Minds, which was a huge bomb when you really think about it, it did earn more than what it made. It made $41 million on a cost of $34 million, but critically bombed. It was in the theaters 2 weeks before they pulled it. It just didn't do well at all.
Nope.
And I hate to see that from Amanda Stenberg, who is just one of my favorite young up-and-coming actresses.
I hate to see that for Peter Jackson, and I think that's going to happen with the Mortal Engines.
Yeah, Mortal Engines getting terrible reviews. The Hurricane Heist. I want to know who greenlit this stupid idea anyway. We haven't seen this yet, but I freely admit we're going to watch this on cable before the end of the year because it is supposed to be so bad it's good. This is one of those films.
Yeah, I'm
telling you, I'm a disaster junkie anyway.
Yeah,
I need stuff for Catastrophe Vortex for the new season.
I'm telling you right now
So.
on tape while we're recording this, I am mistying the living crap out of this movie.
I probably will be too.
Just so you know up front.
It earned $31 million, amazingly enough. Out of a budget of $35 million. It was from director Rob Cohen, who did the Fast and Furious franchise. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, really? A heist in the middle of a Category 5 hurricane? How stupid can you get? It's not as bad as Geostorm, I'm sure. Remake of Death Wish with Bruce Willis actually did make a profit. It grossed $48 million on a budget of $30 million, but came out just 3 weeks after the Parkland shootings in Florida. And talk about awful timing.
Yeah.
It should have been shelved for at least a year after that. You know, I mean, just let's not go there.
Not only that, the simple fact of the matter is...
And we didn't really need it,
we didn't need it, no.
Even though Eli Roth was doing it, you know. Gotti, which is probably one of the worst reviewed films of the year, earned only $4.1 million on a budget of $10 million and features what we are told to be an amazing camp portrayal of the legendary John Gotti by John Travolta.
Yep.
What I've seen in the clips of this film, I have laughed myself sick over. I don't know.
What I've seen just blew my mind,
Pass.
and not in a good way.
Yeah. Movie Pass acquired because it was one of their acquisitions. Actually. Was responsible for 40% of ticket sales. Mm-hmm. The Happy Time Murders got terrible reviews when it came out, despite Brian Henson being in charge of it and featuring a cast of puppets and Melissa McCarthy in a Greg the Bunny scenario where the humans and the puppets lived together freely and were equal in society pretty much.
Well,
they were. What I'm saying is that they weren't puppets.
Yeah, it's an alternate. Yeah, it's an alternate universe where puppets are people, but they're treated like second-class citizens.
Greg the Bunny did it first and did it better, and it's like, okay.
It didn't help that when that film came out that they got blasted by the people that do Sesame Street because of their marketing campaign, which was something to the effect of "No Sesame, All Street," and the people that run, Sesame Street.
They lost that, by the way. Yeah, so...
Yeah, but I don't think... that negative press did not help, I don't think.
Right. And again, Solo, a Star Wars story, it earned $392 million on a budget of $250 million, but the bad press and the fan reaction was just so bad that it was considered a big bomb. Mm-hmm. Interestingly enough, this list does not have... a couple of other ones I saw. Did you pull up the other ones?
I'm looking at another list that's talking about other films.
A Wrinkle in Time was a box office disaster.
A Wrinkle in Time from Disney, which was an enormous disaster, which everyone said was going to be a disaster.
Well, the critics were hoping it would do well because Ava DuVernay was in charge of the directing. Yes. She did so well with her documentary. And Selma before that, and that was the narrative, and the documentary was the prison one on HBO, and even the critics roasted it. So it's like, wow.
It cost $103 million to make. That's not including marketing. It made about $100 million domestically.
So Yeah, so
and
it barely got back,
it's the
too.
simple fact of the matter is that there are certain books that people say don't try and film them because you can't capture the book.
Yep.
A
I
lot
wish
of people,
Twilight had been one of those.
a lot of people said that about Watchmen. I disagree. I like the film version of
Watchmen. A lot of people
Watchmen.
said that about Lord of the Rings too, and
Yeah,
a lot
and look
of
what happened
Tolkien
with that.
fans hate it.
Well, yeah,
Most
a lot of
people love
Tolkien.
them.
Yeah, a lot of Tolkien fans hate it, and they have the right to their opinion.
Yeah,
I don't agree.
it's
with
not.
Said,
It doesn't
but
hew as closely as
No.
they'd like it to.
No.
Just like our buddy Stacy, who likes the Harry Potter movies, but wishes that they were putting every single little detail in every book into
Yeah.
9-hour movies each time they made them.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay.
And our friend Stacy, who whenever we go with her to a comic book movie, inevitably she says, "Oh, it was
it's a
really
great
good."
movie if you don't know anything about the character.
Yeah, if you don't know the source material, it was a great movie every single time. But going back to A Wrinkle in Time, hi Stacy, by the way, this is definitely one of those books I've tried. I don't know how many
I never could.
times I've tried, and every time I'm like,
I've never
about
been
10
able to read
pages
that
in,
one.
I'm
I've
like,
never
nope.
been able to get through The Hobbit, so I'm like, okay.
And considering the cast this thing has, I mean, Oprah Winfrey, Reese Witherspoon, Mindy Kaling,
Chris Pine.
Yeah, Chris Pine, Zach Galifianakis. It's like, this had an amazing cast of people, and it still did terribly.
Yeah.
Skyscraper, another film that was hyped out the wazoo.
Yeah.
And
a lot of that came from the controversy that sprung up over Dwayne Johnson not being an actual disabled person.
yes,
And in the film, his character is missing an arm, correct?
no, he's missing a leg.
Missing a leg.
Yeah.
We didn't see it.
And it's basically Die Hard.
Yeah.
Again,
With The Rock instead of Bruce Willis.
Yeah, that did terribly, but
Rampage didn't do much better, but it did a little better. So
it did a little better. But I think probably one of the biggest bombs of the year would, I think, definitely have to be Robin Hood.
Robin Hood is so bad it's in its final weekend in theaters, from what I've heard. I'm hearing they're going to pull it after this weekend, so it'll be interesting. Considering some people actually thought it was great. It was an odd, fresh take on the character.
Yeah,
Most critics, it only has an 18 on Rotten Tomatoes. If it hasn't gone down since then. That was last week. And it has such a great cast, including Taron Egerton, who I love. And
Ben Mendelsohn,
Yeah.
Jamie Foxx,
Ben Mendelsohn and Taron Egerton, I love both of them, and it's like, wow.
and Jamie Dornan. And speaking of Jamie Dornan,
Oh, yes.
that has to bring us, of course, to 50 Shades Freed.
50 Shades Freed will probably equal Solo at the Razzies this year.
The last part, and thank the deity of your choice for that, part of the 50 Shades trilogy. I mean, if you're into that sort of mommy porn, ersatz Twilight stuff, don't make that face at me. That's what they called it.
I know.
I didn't come up with that.
I know.
I would have come up with another term that would have had a lot more 4-letter words in it.
I know.
Considering how incredibly distasteful and disrespectful those films are to people who follow a BDSM lifestyle the right way,
And you know this how?
because I talk to people.
Oh,
No,
you do? Really?
because I talk to people and
Really?
not talk to people like that.
Oh, okay.
Not like, what are you wearing? Talk to people kind of thing. No, I mean, talk to people and understand why, when those films started coming out, that people who were into that lifestyle were up in arms,
Yeah,
because it's
I do
a terrible representation of said.
Yeah.
And it was another, I mean, it made enough money that thankfully they will never try and make any more. But,
As far as we know.
as far as we know.
Yeah. So those were the biggest hits and misses. I'm sure there were others that we've missed here and there. A lot of indies were big hits this year too, that came out of the woodwork and made so money, like the documentaries and everything.
And we got to see so many films at the Salem Film Festival
Yeah,
this year.
unfortunately, a lot of them haven't come out haven't found distributors yet.
No.
The ones that we did see, because that was the only festival we got to this year. The ones we did see, Minding the Gap is an absolute must-see, and everybody can see that one on Hulu. The other one I would be watching for, the other two I would probably be watching for in a big way, are Mr. Fish, Cartooning from the Deep End, and a movie that I loved that Kim was not that enamored of, a movie called The Experimental City, which I found fascinating.
It is fascinating. It just also
especially when I look at Boston and realize they just kind of transformed it up here.
I'm not saying, I never said it was a bad film.
The subject matter wasn't interesting.
I didn't appreciate the condescending, overwhelming maleness of it all. But,
okay. I'm not sure why, because there were a lot of women involved with it, too, but...
The attitude of the guy that came up with it irritated me.
Yeah. You didn't like him because he was sitting there half drunk most of the time. And that's the truth.
Well, that and the whole thing...
That bothered you, daddy
issues. It bothered me.
And all
yes,
that
it
stuff.
bothered me. Daddy issues rearing their ugly head again. Yes, fine.
Just making sure.
But I also felt like there were so many ways this utopian idea could go so incredibly wrong. And I kept thinking back to...
that's why it was in that little...
Well, that's why I kept thinking back to that episode of Star Trek, The Cloud Miners. And,
anyway,
and once again, everything in life
revolves around Star Trek. It's worth checking out if you get a chance to see it, called The Experimental City. Mm-hmm. We would like to know what you liked and did not like this year, what you thought were big hits and what you thought were misses. Please take the time to drop us a line at subjectcinema@PNRNetworks.com. You can also post on Facebook over on our Facebook pages, or you can tweet to us. I'm at eCinemaOne and eCinemaBoston. Kim is at Platinum Rose L. Mm-hmm. And we hope to hear from you about this year's box office.
Real movies for real people. Subject Cinema.
All right, Kristen, I am so excited that you've decided to do a podcast with me, but what are we going to do a podcast about? There's so many other movie podcasts. We got to do something original.
Well, I'm a big fan of Disney movies. What about something like that?
That's just kid stuff. What do we want to do that for?
Did you know that The Avengers is a Disney movie? Or that Pulp Fiction is a Disney movie?
Pulp Fiction is not a Disney movie.
It's technically owned by Miramax, which is part of Disney.
We are still going to talk about the Disney animated movies, though, right?
I thought you said that was kid stuff.
Well, I've got 2 kids. I got to be a good dad and stuff.
So be sure to subscribe to the Walt Sent Me podcast, where we discuss the various subsidiaries of the Walt Disney Studios, including the animated movies.
It's available on iTunes, Podomatic, and wherever you find great podcasts. And I swear, it's not kid stuff.
Subject Cinema.
The Dramatic Chipmunk.
I think this is very deserving of a Dramatic Chipmunk. We haven't had one for a while. Mm-hmm. Probably almost a whole year. I am so tired of this. It all blew up in less than 24 hours and it won't go away. You guys all heard the story about how Kevin Hart got and lost the host job on the Academy Awards, right?
Well, I would say got and then gave back.
Yeah,
not lost,
yeah,
really.
He did lose it. I mean, he gave it back, but he lost it. Apparently, Disney or the Academy actually didn't vet his tweets properly, and there was this whole big thing back in 2010 where he was making a lot of gay jokes and pissing people off. He addressed it a few years ago, thought it was out of the way, said he was growing as a person. Well, they came back to haunt him this week. And so Kevin Hart, who was possibly the best choice for the Oscars because he's not political, he's funny, he's genuine, within 48 hours he was pushed into a position where he didn't like being in, and he basically walked away from the job he's always wanted to do.
Yeah.
Now, people won't let go of this story. They won't let it die. The story died officially 24 hours after it stopped. There have been 5 pieces on the Wrap, 4 pieces on Deadline, 4 pieces in a Variety. They just can't let go. Move on, people, okay? He's off the job. He's apologized, even though I think he was more mature where he came out and owned what he'd said and said he'd grown rather than apology. And then, part of the gay community, run by GLAAD, came out and said, he shouldn't have given it up. He should have used it as a teaching moment when they were given the hottest pressure to get rid of him. I mean, really?
It was totally a damned if he did.
I'm very tempted to start a new podcast called Hollywood Hypocrisy. I really am. There's so much hypocrisy in the Hollywood community. And I talk about gold mine for a show. But, I just feel like it's being overworked as a dead horse. We've gotten past it. Kevin Hart bowed out. Now people are saying, well, they're not vetting people enough. When did you ever need to vet Johnny Carson to host the Tonight Show, or to host the Oscars? I mean, when did you ever feel the need to vet, Chris Rock to host, or anyone else? Social media. And I'm sorry, is there any more big hypocrisy in the same camp about Kevin Hart than there is about James Gunn? Disney canned James Gunn after the same kind of tweets a few years ago. He apologized for them. He said I was young and stupid, and all of his friends came up to him and came to his bat, and came to bat for him, and Disney still fired him off of Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Yep.
And now, Kevin Hart basically says the same thing, and people like Dave Bautista are out there, and all of them are still screaming for them to rehire James Gunn, that he didn't deserve that. And who's helping Kevin Hart for the same kind of jokes? Oh, you freaking forking bunch of hypocrites. This is what I mean.
Yeah, I know.
It's just so awful. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not defending Hart's tweets. I definitely am not. Gay jokes are not fun. Not funny. They're just not.
Especially since most of the jokes...
Especially in 2010.
Well, not only that, it was mostly, I think, what people had a problem with were the fact that the remarks that he was making were about if his son turned out to be gay.
Most of them.
And, that kind of stuff is stupid.
It is stupid, but it really shouldn't have cost him the job.
It shouldn't have cost him the job, no.
He felt the Academy really shouldn't have felt pressured to demand an apology or leave, and I'm sure they were panicking when he said, "Oh, I'm leaving."
Yeah.
Because let's face it, the Academy Awards had their lowest rated awards show in its history earlier this year. Because they don't know how to keep it under 3 hours. They don't ever have hosts that people are interested in. And a lot of the movies that are awarded are completely unknown to the general public, because while they are all quality-worthy films, they are all teeny tiny releases that the studios never put out in wide release until after the Oscars.
Yeah.
This is kind of stupid. If they can get the Academy Awards under 2.5 hours, it starts at 8:30. Get off the air by 11:15 at the absolute latest. I'm going to get yelled at. Screw the below the line categories. The Grammys got rid of below the line categories like a decade ago. They've had their highest rated shows in years by focusing on the top 12 out of 70 awards on the TV show and losing the rest, music acts and tributes and all this stuff. Take an example from the Grammys. Picture, director, documentary, actor, actress, supporting actress, score, cinematography, and maybe the short films. Everything else can go before the show.
Yep.
We don't need to see those. People don't care about them. Except people in the industry. That's fair. But let's be honest. Does Joe Moviegoer actually care about the 37 people on the list that traipse up to the stage, all trying to say thank you for winning Best Visual Effects? Or Best Costume Design? Or Best Sound Editing? These are all important things, but they're not televisable categories. Honestly, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get on my soapbox about this, but really, Oscars have got to come into the 21st century. I think Ann Thompson said that yesterday. My apologies to her. They've got to realize that they need to rein in something. It doesn't need to be popular film. Thank God they got rid of that idea within a week after they came up with it. It doesn't need to be popular film. The studios need to be pushed by the Academy. If you want a nomination, get the film out there in wide release by December 31st. Mm-hmm. That's all. That's the simple rules change you need now. Get it, or not even wide release. Get it into at least 500 theaters, at least 2 theaters in each state by the end of the year. Otherwise, no nomination. That's just how you've got to do it, because, independent films can be given a little bit of leeway. Give them, maybe 100 theaters over the course. But, it becomes you can come up with all these different scenarios. But it's anyway. I feel bad for Kevin Hart because I genuinely like him. He's one of the few comics around that I really like, and it's. I wish they had come up with this better. The best suggestion I've heard for a replacement came from Chris Evans, who suggested his pal Robert Downey Jr. step into the host job. Since the Oscars, and I can't believe this, the Oscar host, this is amazing, but Jimmy Kimmel let this out last year. He's hosted the last 2 years. The Oscar host gets paid $15,000 to host the Oscars. Now, while that's, half a year's pay for most people, in Hollywood, that's peanuts. What is with you people?
Yeah.
You're going to pay, you want to get somebody big on that stage. You want to really have a great superstar host. Pay them the money.
Yeah.
Pay Downey Jr. $10 million to host.
Or you know
I
what?
still think the best idea for the host was the Muppets.
No, not for nothing else. Hey, Oscar committee, I'll do it for airfare and hotel fare. Just let me do it. You want to see...
That could be a lot of fun. It could also be extremely dangerous.
You want to see an interesting Oscar show? Let me host it.
Yes. Remember, honey,
Yeah.
there are kids watching.
Me and
so
Fred.
it would be very hard for you to do.
Me and Fred.
Fred?
My first dog.
Ooh.
Yeah, me and Fred.
Oh, no. There you go. That just gave me a great idea.
What?
Lucas Crookshank for host of the Academy Awards.
Eek. That is probably the only person worse than me and Fred.
No, he's not either. Lucas is a genuinely funny, brilliant talent.
He is. Yeah, he is. Yeah.
He's a bit weird anymore on his YouTube show, but he's definitely, there was a reason he was our number one rising star in 2011. So it's like, okay, he's really, really something. Anyway, Kevin, dude, I respect you. I think you did the right thing standing up for yourself. I wish you haven't given that half-hearted apology when you left. I think you should have stayed on. But I haven't watched the Oscars for the last 2 years because I'm sick of the political stuff. I just want to see movie stuff, not political stuff.
Yep.
So hopefully, maybe, possibly, we could do that this year.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe they'll have something good. But Kevin, more power to you. And Academy, could you pull your head out of your ass, please? It's 2018. Let's get together and let ABC handle the production, which I know you've forced them to give you now, because when they did it better, except for the year with Rob Lowe and Still White. What do you guys think about SESTA? Do you know what SESTA is?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
No.
SESTA is the bill that was FOSTA. Maybe it's FOSTA. One of the two. They're both the same thing. Was the law signed into law a few months ago that supposedly was designed to create an environment where people could stop sex trafficking on the internet.
Okay. That sounds like a good thing.
It sounds like a good thing, but it's not. It's actually gone up 15-20% since this happened. It's knocked several things out of business. And now it's causing problems at Tumblr. Tumblr is so afraid of the things it's an internet censorship bill. And it needs to be repealed. It's a bad bill. It doesn't really help anybody. You can find all the technical stuff over at Tech Dirt. I go through it all the time. But basically, this law just puts it on record that we're trying to fight human trafficking, but does so in a way that basically censors any kind of pornography or anything else.
Yeah.
And you get kind of crazy. Tumblr has announced it is pulling anything with an adult image off of its system next week.
Yes, I know about this.
As a result, since its announcement was made last Tuesday, 9 million Tumblr subscribers have left the service. That is almost half of its daily usage.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is an incredible situation because they are not distinguishing between porn and art.
Yep.
And that is a big, big thing. That's one of the problems of SESTA. It's one of the problems, or FOSTA, whichever one it is. It's one of the problems of Article 13 coming up in the EU. And it's a big deal.
It is a big deal. I happen to follow quite a number of people on Twitter.
We have a Tumblr called Popcorn Kernels.
Yeah.
It loads automatically all of our shows so people can see it if they're on Tumblr.
I follow quite a number of people on Twitter and other places on the internet who are artists, very talented artists, and writers, very talented writers. A lot of them have left Tumblr because they, some of their art is adult material. Now, when I say adult material, I am not talking about pornography.
No, we are talking about basically even the Venus de Milo. Who's the woman with the boobs with no breast? I'm sorry. I'm a pleb when it comes to sculpture.
Wow.
There is a known sculptor.
The Venus de Milo, she is topless.
Right.
Armless.
And armless. I'm sorry, that sounded so
Well, Michelangelo's David is fully nude. That man is nude.
That also. Both of those have already been pulled in places under this act. And their artwork, they're not pornography.
No, they're not pornography. That's ridiculous.
So...
Botticelli's Birth of Venus, she's standing on a seashell, naked.
Yep.
And if anybody told you that was porn, you'd be like, are you some kind of a moron?
Well, there are groups that will tell you it's porn because it's nudity.
They're called narrow-minded ninny hammers. So,
I would have thought they were repressed CGBs.
They're that too, but I was trying to be nice.
GCBs, sorry.
GCBs. They're repressed
Which,
GCBs.
God help us, CW is reviving next season.
But see, I was trying to be nice, but if you want to go there, then fine, hold my shoes. But, it's...
Oh, at least it's not your earrings.
Well, they came off a while ago.
Okay.
So, but it is ridiculous. Look, we're all friggin' adults.
Yep.
We know the difference between art and porn.
Yeah.
If you don't know the difference between art and porn and you're old enough to have a driver's license, you shouldn't be on the computer.
I'm going to have some links in the show
out.
notes this week that'll lead you to stuff to research this. So please follow those links and look at them because I'm going to and not just this, but the other topics we're talking about. There are all kinds of internet bills going on that could contribute to the utter neutering of the net in the next 6 months. And I'm not talking, like net neutrality. I'm talking a worldwide censorship neuter of the network. Mm-hmm. They're basically trying to turn it into cable, where somebody has the key, rather than freeform, which is what the internet is now.
I mean, if people
a lot of podcasts, a lot of YouTube, a lot of that stuff has to go away if any of this stuff passes.
I mean, I don't like censorship anyway. I have always fought against censorship.
Censorship is an outrage, which is a quote from Dr. Daniel Snow Justice Daniel Snow in First Monday in October.
I mean, and that even includes stuff that I don't like.
Yeah.
I mean, that even includes stuff that I would be like, ew. You know
what this reminds me of?
What?
This whole battle right now going on behind the scenes. The backward masking crap in the 1980s. That was all garbage from beginning to end. It still is, and there are still groups out there that continue to push that stuff, and it's all garbage, and so is this.
Every day.
Every bit of it. I mean, there is human trafficking, but these bills are making it worse, not better, because it's making it... the cops have come out and said, this is making it so much harder for us to find the people doing it.
Right.
Because now they're hiding on the dark web.
Yeah. Every day, I thank... I thank God. I completely do thank God that my parents were not these overprotective twits.
Yeah.
That, you hit, back in the 80s, I know this might, for some people might remember this, Eric, and you might remember this. Everything was everybody else's fault if your kid effed up.
It's still that way.
It was rock music, it was Dungeons and Dragons, it was pro wrestling, it was comic books, it was this, that, and the other thing.
Cartoon violence.
No, it was the fact that you were a shite parent that didn't notice if your kids were hurting.
Isn't it interesting that just after the last major video game brouhaha here in America, about 3 years ago, when people were blaming all the school shootings on violent video games, a study done in the Netherlands came out, and having studied, I think they said 4,000 students over 5 years' time, and concluded there was not one bit of truth to the video games contribute to violence thing. Not one shred of truth.
Yep.
Every study they showed said it had no effect.
Nope.
I mean, it's ridiculous. You really got to look at this. I'll have a link to that. Also, there'll be a link to some Facebook stuff. There's some very scary stuff going on with Facebook in the aftermath of something that happened a couple weeks ago. An executive from a company that Facebook is in a lawsuit with right now was in Great Britain, and he had with him paperwork that had been sealed by the California courts, and Parliament had him arrested and said, we need these papers. You have to give this to us, or you're going to prison. This big shot parliamentarian guy. Mm-hmm. The guy was terrified, so he handed this stuff over. On Thursday, this guy, this PM, I've forgotten his name, published all of the classified court documents on the internet. Mm-hmm. And they reveal some really scary stuff about the way Facebook has been operating. So you want to check these out. You got to take it in context. The news media is having a field day with certain things, the way they've been put in certain context by these parliamentarians that want to go after Facebook. But there's some scary stuff, and I will have some links to that as well. So be looking for that too.
T.C. Kirkham and Kim Brown. Subject Cinema.
I know we did this last year or the year before on Front Row 5 and 10, but I just wanted to bring it up right now because it's the season. Mm-hmm. It's holiday time. Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Festivus.
Winter solstice.
Winter solstice. We have both been listening to the radio in the cabs and stuff a lot. Are we getting sick of anything this year?
You mean Christmas music?
Christmas music.
Well, no, not yet.
No.
I mean, it's only the 9th, so
yeah, but
no.
I mean, the radio stations, 2 radio stations in Boston have been playing nothing but Christmas music since the week before Thanksgiving. So it's like, okay.
Have they?
Yeah. WROR started
Shows you how much attention
the
I've
week
been
before
paying.
Thanksgiving.
I barely hear stuff in the morning anyway because I haven't had any caffeine yet. So
the sad thing is they all play. The thing that bothers me is that they never find anything new. There are all kinds of great songs out there that they're not playing. Every year, new songs come out. Maybe 1 or 2 of them might get a little bit of airplay, but none of the rest of them. I mean, the last new song that really made an impact on the Christmas music charts was probably Christmas Shoes, which happened in 1999. Mm-hmm. So it's been 20 years since a new perennial really jumped into things. But you hear the same crap over and over again. White Christmas, Let It Snow, Let It Snow, Let It Snow. Baby It's Cold Outside, which was this whole huge thing we talked about last week. I think, didn't we?
Yeah, I think we did.
There's, all these same stuff over and over again. All right, those were before Christmas Shoes. The Bob Rivers songs came in the mid-90s, like the Chimney Song and
Walk Around in
Women's Underwear.
Yeah.
And those all came during the 90s. So how come there's been nothing? There's been great releases out there in the 2000s. This year, my boys, Hanson, have released a remake of Wonderful Christmas Time by Wings, which was actually done 2 years ago by the Ready Set, and was better done. Sorry, guys. Where's Christmas Cash? Why isn't Christmas Cash being played on the radio 24/7? What?
Really?
Yes, really. What?
Because nothing should be played 24/7.
Okay.
Number 1.
But
number 2, certainly not that song.
Are you sick of Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer?
I haven't heard it yet this year, to be honest with you.
I've heard it like 4 or 5 times. There's no new Christmas novelty song that has become hits in the last, 20 years since the Bob Rivers stuff. You hear, I don't even hear that anymore. I don't hear the Chimney Song because it got wiped out because people were, that's not very PC. You don't hear this Bob Rivers stuff anymore, but you still hear Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer. Talking about drunk grandma getting stomped on by Rudolph. That's okay, and the Chimney Song isn't okay? Seriously. But Christmas Cash, which was recorded in 2009 by, we've already talked about him once, Lucas Cruikshank and his Fred Figglehorn persona for Nickelodeon, is one of the funniest Christmas songs I've ever heard, and also Christmas is Creepy, also from that same album. And they're not as grating as the Fred character on the TV show. They're really funny songs, and I think Christmas Cash is really funny. I wish it was, because a lot of kids feel that way. Why do you get these useless gifts that people give you? I mean, some of the stuff he comes up with all relate to Fred's whole weird OCD stuff in the show, but I mean, you know, if you're a guy and parents are going to get you, you're a 12-year-old kid and you're wanting something cool that'll look neat like a football video game, and parents give you a Cabbage Patch doll. It happens. Wouldn't it be better just to give your kid money and let them go spend what they needed to spend it on?
I guess. I mean, it would be better if it's Christmas time to teach your children from an early age that gifts are nice, but you're supposed to...
This is Kim getting on her social soapbox.
No, I'm just saying that it's, you know, you just teach your kids from an early age that gifts are nice and presents are nice. It's more important to give presents and to give somebody else happiness than to...
That's not what I'm asking. You're completely diluting what I'm saying here.
And it's more important to celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ.
You're completely diluting what I'm saying here, though. Wouldn't you, as a person, rather get money than a gift you think is ridiculous? Right.
I got money as gifts, but I knew why I was getting it. It was because she's too weird to buy for.
That's my point. Most kids are.
Yeah, but my point...
And most kids...
Yeah, but can I... You hold up. Let me finish. Don't you think it would make more sense for parents to try and get to know what their kids enjoy?
Oh, God. Get to know the people in your house. You might like them. Let's play the free design, everybody.
Fine, ask my opinion and then mock me.
What?
I don't care.
What?
You know, I'm just nothing. You know, what? But it's true. If parents got to know their kids and realized, hey, wow, my kid really likes whatever, I'm going to get them that.
We have a Spotify playlist of some songs that you guys should check out over there. It's called Christmas Outside the Box, and it's over. You can get the list, click on it on the KirkhamReport.com, or go to Spotify, search TKR online, and you can pull up all three of our Christmas channels, and including that one, which has Christmas Cash and Close Your Mouth, It's Christmas, the song I just mentioned by Free Design, and a few other things.
Is the other song on there?
What other song? Oh, Little Boy Santa Claus Forgot. Yeah, it's on there too. I'm sorry, that should have been cheap.
No, it shouldn't have.
ITC Kirkham.
I'm Kim Brown.
May your popcorn always be buttered.
And may your roses always be in bloom.
TTFN.
Bye now. Boy, that Santa Claus forgot.
And if you haven't checked it out yet, this is the perfect time of the year to sit down, pull up your Amazon Prime, I think that's where it is, and look up Jingle Bell Rocks, a terrific documentary about Christmas music collectors. It's where we heard about a lot of this stuff, and it's definitely worth every cent. Okay, what are we calling this segment now?
Didn't you write it down?
Yeah, the Daffy Day Dossier.
Yeah.
We have a new segment because we found this great new site. And just things to look out for in the next week. Kind of dates the show, but you know. Today, for those of you who don't know, day and date, December 9th, excuse me. December 9th, 2018. Today is National Pastry Day.
Yes.
Lots of interesting stuff going on.
So that means no calories. It doesn't count.
And also Weary Willie Day, that's celebrating Emmett Kelly's clown persona. Monday is the Dewey Decimal System Day. Do we still use that?
I was going to ask you, do they still use that? I don't know.
They must.
I guess.
Along with Human Rights Day and Nobel Prize Day. On Tuesday, it is December 11th, is National Noodle Ring Day. And when you say noodle rings, these are the little rings in SpaghettiOs and little canned stuff. Okay. Noodles that are in the shape of a ring. So everybody eat a can of SpaghettiOs for lunch on Tuesday.
I guess.
Wednesday is National Ding-a-Ling Day.
Oh, that sounds
Ding-a-lings are
so
people that
wrong.
call people they haven't talked to in ages on National Ding-a-Ling Day. Like a coach from high school or whatever.
Yeah. It's call somebody out of the blue day.
Yeah.
Basically.
Also, National Poinsettia or Poinsettia Day or Poinsettia Day. However, the three different pronunciations of that. And Gingerbread House Day, which I know Kim would like.
Yes, I would.
And National Ambrosia Day. So go out and get drunk. No, don't do
No,
that.
don't do that. Crying out loud. What's the matter with you? Don't encourage that.
No, December 13th, Thursday, is National Cocoa Day. Mm-hmm. So Kim will be happy.
I will.
And also Pick a Pathologist Day, in which is a day where you are encouraged to get to know your local pathologist or coroner because you don't know what tomorrow will bring. That's right out of the calendar.
I think I'm going to be ill.
Also, National Day of the Horse and National Violin Day. Friday, National Alabama Day. Now, I'm not sure. Let me look real quick. I'm not sure if that's the musical group or the state. That's the state. So everybody from Alabama celebrate Alabama. Also, National Bouillabaisse Day. Okay.
All right.
And National Salesperson Day. And on Saturday, it's National Cat Herders Day.
Okay.
Also,
so that's National Should Have Stayed in Bed Day, pretty much is the same thing?
Also Bill of Rights Day and Free Shipping Day. A lot
shipping.
of places,
we need to stress that because we don't want people to get the wrong idea. Shipping.
Shipping. I said shipping.
With a P.
And I mean shipping as in parcels, not shipping as in relationshipping.
Damn it.
Okay?
Fine. Gee, I wonder who that was directed at.
A lot of online retailers will be giving you free shipping when you order Saturday. So keep that in mind. And that is this week's Daffy Day Dossier. I got to make a jingle for this. I didn't have time to make a jingle for it yet. Want to remind people, everybody, that we are headed for a catastrophe on the internet if you don't intervene. The European Commission, European Union Commission, is looking to install a couple of laws that could become detrimental and change the makeup of the internet as it is now. We have links to it on our website and in our show notes. We will urge you to get the full information on Article 11, which will add link taxes to things. I mean, you could link to something and end up owing money for doing it. Mm-hmm. And Article 13, which is an outrageously bad copyright law, which is now some people are actually backing up from, so that's good. People are actually thinking, oh crap, the net's having a fit. Don't give up and don't stop the pressure. Go to don'twreckthe.net. DONTWRECKTHE.net and get all the information. You can sign the petition. You can go over and get information on how to write to your to people at the parliaments in the EU and how to make your positions known that you want the internet to remain free and open and not walled in. Because if these go into effect, they're going to destroy YouTube. They're going to destroy memes. They very well could put us out of business as podcasters, and they could wipe out half the net as it currently exists.
Yeah.
We have got to stop this movement. Go to don'twreckthe.net and get complete details. See the link in our show notes, or go over there, just type it in and get involved. If you don't get involved, you have no right to complain if something happens later on.
Yep.
So please get involved. Spread the word. Put this on your Twitter. Put this on your Facebook. Put it on your Snapchat and Tumblr and everywhere else you are. Don't wreck the net. Don't wreck the .net. Get involved today. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, that's going to do it for this week.
Yep.
Had a lot of interesting stuff this week. Next week, as we continue our 2018 time capsule, we will take a look at our show will be our In Memoriam show this year. Where we look back at some of the entertainers and other personalities we've lost in 2018. We will also continue our trek toward the end of the year with more little tidbits and movies and stuff. By the way, before I forget, if you want to keep up on all the awards, the year-end awards, the Golden Globe nominations, for instance, came out this week, and several Critics Award nominations have come out in the last couple of days. You can find these on eCinemaOne .com. I have them up, within a day after they're announced usually. And, you can get a full list of all the winners or nominees or whatever. Come over there and check us out. We're not going to be giving them all here on the show, as we go through our year-end stuff. We'll probably run off the big ones at the end show, but, you can keep up with everything coming out. And this next week is the big week. There'll be 15 critics groups coming out with their stuff, starting with Los Angeles today, I believe, and ending with Boston next Sunday. And we'll have a whole bunch of stuff up on the web as they come available. I also want to thank the people who listen to this show. I don't know how many of you actually contribute to things that we bring up to your attention, but if you were helping and were partially responsible for donating to our friends in Gloucester at the Cape Ann Cinema and Show place, Cape Ann Cinema and Stage, thank you. They went over their goal. I tweeted about it last week because they were less than $5,000 from their goal, and they had less than 24 hours to go. They made their goal with $470 to spare and can stay open for another year, and that's terrific. We've never been there, but we've corresponded considerably with its owner, Rob Newton, and we've always been meant to get up there and see this little, because they've now expanded it to three screens. It's a great little community thing that everybody up there adores, and we were able to help them with that, and we donated too, and hopefully, thank you if you donated on our requesting. It means a lot to us that you would do that, and thank you for helping push them over the top. Also, if you're so inclined, it is fun sucking time on PBS during December. One of the specials they will be running is a holiday special from America's Test Kitchen. If you guys like that, I've already seen it. It's online on their website. Check it out. It's an hour-long special with some holiday recipes and some behind-the-scenes gossiping behind the people who are involved with America's Test Kitchen. Not Cook's Country, though, interestingly enough.
Yeah.
Even though Test Kitchen produces that, too. You can see and hear and listen to tips from Julia Collin Davison, Bridget Lancaster, Adam Reed, Jack Bishop, and the whole team, as well as see some great recipes for holiday. 2 of them are brand new, 2 of them are cheaters from previous episodes. But it does give you an insight as to how they think about the holidays. It's the first time they've ever done one of these, and it's definitely worth checking out. Check your local PBS fun-sucking listings for time and date in your area. America's Test Kitchen Holiday Special.
Yep.
That's brought to you simply because I'm a huge fan and a member of their site, and I want you to see it. What have we got going? Platinum Rose's Garden, you're going to have a double episode this weekend.
Yeah,
because somebody was under the weather again last weekend and couldn't do the show.
That's my Supernatural podcast. You can check it out at PlatinumRosesGarden.com. You can also check out, I haven't done a more recent Ring Around the Rosie because I've been really pissed with the WWE and their programming.
But it will be coming back this week because I said so.
Yep, at ringaroundtherosie.net. And
you're going to have a damn wrestling podcast. You're going to be doing it on a regular basis.
Yeah, well, I don't want to be doing the same thing every week. Well,
but
the WWE sucks.
You have 30 years of history to pull from.
Yeah, I know. But, and if you would like to follow me on Twitter, you can do so at PlatinumRoseL@Twitter.com. You can also email me at PlatinumRoseL@Yahoo.com if you want to do that.
We also have too many shows throughout the week. 3 Minute Weekend is on Fridays. Runs down all the new films hitting your local cinemas and art houses. And Tuesday, Digidex runs down the home video market, DVD, Blu-ray, on-demand streaming, and more. You can find them on the 3 Minute Weekend feed at Libsyn and links on our website. Definitely listen to those. They run about, despite the title of 3 Minute Weekend, it averages about 7.5 minutes every week. And Tuesday Digidex about the same. But it's the best, fullest, most comprehensive report I can try to bring you. And I hope you'll check those out. Front Row 5 and 10, our list show, and Catastrophe, Vortex, my disaster movie show, will have their new season premieres in January, and we hope that you will come back for those, as well as the premiere of 3 brand new Patreon exclusive shows, Subject Cinema's Review, Subject Cinema's Freeze Frame, and Kaiju Corner with Kim Brown.
Yep.
Those will be coming exclusively to Patreon in January. So if you're not a Patreon supporter, you need to be now at the $10 level for these. And definitely come in and support us at any level you can. It starts at $2. And we see all these great YouTube stuff and all these stuff that are online where they have these huge lists of Patreon supporters that they can run by. Wouldn't you like to see your name on that list when we start doing it instead of just 2 or 3 people? Because we could really use it. And we have some other renovations going on. We have some big plans. Next Monday, day and date, December 17th, I will be making a huge announcement about something going on starting in January on eCinemaOne.com. You'll want to sit there you'll want to check that out for the official press release about this new thing we're going to be doing. It will also be including Subject Cinema and a number of other things, but you'll definitely want to check it out. It involves our film festival coverage, and we hope that you will be there to check it out. It's a huge idea, huge undertaking, and I think it's going to be a huge hit. And we found all kinds of great resources for it, and I want you to be there. So please check out our announcement Monday, December 17th at eCinemaOne.com. And don't forget all of our other websites, eCinemaBoston.com, KirkhamReport.com, my music site, which is coming slowly back online. And we got Planet BiblioMusica, which I haven't done it within 6 months. I need to do something over there. And a lot more. And we hope that you will listen and watch and read. Spread the word. Please. Like, subscribe, share to this show, to all of our shows. Tweet your friends about us. Put us up on Facebook. Let people know you're out there. Tell your Snapchat friends and Tumblr friends and Twitch fans about us. And let them know that Subject Cinema is here and isn't going anywhere as we prepare to enter, oh my God, our 15th year of doing this. So please be around and don't forget to help out. You can donate at patreon.com/PNRNetworks. Minimum of $2 a month is what's up there. But you can do to any level. And if you're at the $10 level, you'll get these 3 new shows. And we hope that you'll check them out. Anything else?
No, I think
I didn't forget any shows or sites or anything?
No, I think that's everything.
Alrighty, let's toodle off into the sunset. For Subject Cinema, I'm T.C. Kirkham.
I'm Kim Brown.
May your popcorn always be better.
And may your roses always be in bloom.
Goodbye!
Bye-bye now.
Goodbye! Goodbye!
Okay, that's enough.
You have been listening to Subject Cinema with hosts T.C. Kirkham and Kim Brown. Subject Cinema is produced by PNRNetworks, Boston, Massachusetts, which is solely responsible for its content. Subject Cinema theme performed by Eric Lyon. Subject Cinema is recorded and produced using Sony Vegas products. Subject Cinema is copyright 2018 by PNRNetworks under a Creative Commons license. Check out a new episode of Subject Cinema every weekend. Until next time, this is Bob Taylor for Subject Cinema, and we'll see you at the movies.
That's all.
Podcasting's choice. From coast to coast, continent to continent, right here 24/7.